Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into one of the most blistering, mic-drop moments in ancient political history. We're looking at a pivotal assembly, a massive gathering of the greatest kings, preceptors, and leaders that gets blown wide open by what is perceived as a massive insult. A leader named Yudhishthira has just offered the absolute highest royal worship to someone the established monarchs believe is entirely unqualified. The man leading the charge against this decision? Sisupala. Today, we're going to use the exact text of his fiery speech to analyze how he dismantles the logic of this royal court piece by piece.
Sisupala doesn't just disagree here. He goes straight for the jugular. He literally compares Krishna, the recipient of the honor, to a dog quietly lapping up clarified butter in a corner. It's designed to be deeply visceral and incredibly humiliating. He's framing this not as some grand, sacred ceremony, but as a shameful, almost pathetic act of theft. He claims Krishna is taking pride in an honor offered unworthily, and he's saying this right to his face in front of the assembled monarchs. This isn't a polite disagreement. It's a total character assassination right from the very first breath.
Section 1. The undeserved royal worship. Let's examine the actual core crime that set this whole assembly on fire.
He looks right at his hosts, the Pandavas, and essentially calls them clueless kids. He tells them they have completely missed the mark on the subtle rules of morality. It's a brilliant rhetorical move. By treating Yudhishthira and his brothers like children, Sisupala immediately positions himself as the adult in the room, the true guardian of tradition. He's telling the crowd that the Pandavas' actions aren't just a tiny slip-up. They represent a total fundamental failure to grasp the complex laws that govern their entire hierarchy. And here is the exact contradiction driving his anger. Yudhishthira is handing over the Arghya, the absolute highest royal honor, to a guy who, according to Sisupala, checks 0 boxes. He's not a sacrificial priest, he's not a revered teacher, and honestly, most importantly, in a room completely packed with illustrious rulers, he isn't even a king. Sisupala is demanding to know how a man lacking all the insignia of royalty can be placed on a pedestal above actual ruling monarchs.
Which brings us to Section 2, the rules of morality. Because Sisupala isn't just ranting here, he is bringing receipts based on established precedent.
He methodically runs down the traditional checklist of societal rules to prove Krishna falls short. Royalty? Nope, we established he's not a king. Age and seniority? Well, Krishna's own father, Vasudeva, is sitting right there in the room. How do you honor the son as the eldest when the father is present? What about religious merit? Nope, not a priest either. Sisupala is building an airtight logical trap, proving to the assembly that this decision completely defies every single metric of status they hold dear. But he doesn't stop with the young Pandavas. He takes aim at the elder statesman Bhishma. Sisupala claims Bhishma has completely thrown morality out the window by counseling the Pandavas to offer this worship. This is a massive escalation. He accuses this highly respected elder of acting purely out of self-interest rather than virtue, declaring that any honest person should heavily censure Bhishma for this. He is meticulously stripping away any authoritative cover the Pandavas thought they had.
Section 3. The worthier candidates. To really hammer his point home, Sisupala starts listing exactly who in the room just got robbed of this honor.
He points out that if Yudhishthira wanted to honor a well-wisher, Drupada was right there. If he wanted preceptors, Drona and Kripa were sitting right in the room. If he wanted mighty kings, he literally bypassed the king of kings, Duryodhana, along with Bhishmaka and Salya. By organizing his argument this way, Sisupala isn't just defending his own ego. He is stepping up as the defense attorney for every single insulted dignitary in that assembly, uniting them all in a shared sense of outrage. Then he pivots to this aggressive, rapid-fire interrogation. He shoots this question straight at Yudhishthira. Do you regard Krishna as a preceptor? He's backing Yudhishthira into a corner, forcing him to verbally justify the unjustifiable. Because if the answer is yes, well, how on earth can you honor Krishna when Drona, an absolute legend and master of knowledge, is sitting right in front of you? He's highlighting just how completely absurd it is to ignore a true preceptor in favor of someone from the Vrishni race. He doesn't even let them breathe. Next question. Do you regard Krishna as the Ritwija, the sacrificial priest? And again, he drops the counter-evidence immediately. If religious merit was the deciding factor, why in the world was the old and revered Dwaipayana entirely overlooked? Sisupala is methodically locking every single rhetorical door Yudhishthira could possibly use to escape. And what if it was just about sheer, undeniable power? Well, he brings up the mighty Karna.
the hero who single-handedly vanquished all monarchs in battle by his own strength. Whether you're judging by age, religious authority, teaching pedigree, or raw military might, Sisupala makes it crystal clear. Someone else in that room always outranks Krishna. Passing over Karna for Krishna is just factually incorrect based on the hierarchy of power.
Section 4. Motives and insults. If this wasn't based on merit, then why did they do it? Let's look at Sisupala's ultimate character assassination of Krishna.
He completely strips away any heroic aura surrounding Krishna. He paints him not as a hero, but as a wretch who unrighteously killed the illustrious King Jarasandha. By dragging up this past action and labeling it unrighteous, he's telling the kings, this is the guy you're being forced to clap for, a guy who breaks the rules of righteous combat. It completely disqualifies him from any royal tribute.
He delivers a crushing blow to his host, flat out stating that the Pandavas are not acting out of virtue. He says Yudhishthira has completely abandoned righteousness, claiming this honor was offered out of fear or some hidden motive of gain. He basically calls Yudhishthira's famous reputation for righteousness completely baseless. In the political theater of the ancient world, calling a king mean-minded and unrighteous in front of all his peers, that is the ultimate declaration of political war.
He drives the final nail in the coffin with these brutal analogies. Giving this royal worship to a non-king? He says it's like offering a wife to a man without viral power, or putting on a spectacular show for someone who is completely blind. It is entirely pointless and wasted because the recipient simply lacks the qualities to warrant it. He finishes his tirade by declaring that the true colors of Yudhishthira, Bhishma, and Krishna have finally been seen. The masks are officially off.
Section 5. The Grand Walkout. This intense prosecution finally hits its boiling point. As you can imagine, you don't just drop insults like that and politely head over to the buffet.
Sisupala turns his verbal assault into a physical rebellion. After dropping those heavy words, he doesn't sit down and wait for a rebuttal. He stands up from his seat, turns his back on his hosts, and walks right out. And he doesn't leave alone. He takes a whole faction of monarchs with him. He has successfully weaponized their bruised egos and engineered a massive walkout that publicly delegitimizes Yudhishthira's entire grand assembly.
So as the dust settles on this unprecedented walkout and the empty seats echo with the weight of Sisupala's insults, we have to ask, what kind of devastating fallout is this royal rupture going to bring? You can't just insult the host, question the wisdom of the elders, slander the guest of honor, and walk out with half the room without sparking an absolute inferno. How will this shattered peace ever be repaired? Or does this simply mean war? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time as we continue to unpack the world's most fascinating primary sources.